Your future has arrived.
We don't know much about anything, honestly, Hans. Look, there are some scumbags in the Republican Party. Don't get me wrong.
If you have the nerve to say that Fox is not part of the mainstream media, I'm going to laugh so loud, it's going to be a 30-minute segment of me just laughing. I try to not listen to anybody who has the last name Williams.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Dang it, I'm on the wrong internet connection.
Oh, brother. All right, so here we are for our recording. I'm going to watch the time this time so we can keep it within half an hour and not have people log off after a certain amount of time because we are just rambling on.
I think you've done a great job at editing this stuff down. I know it's a lot of work, and definitely want to minimize that for you. But I usually don't like listening to anything I do, and I've enjoyed listening to our podcast. So there you go.
So what are we talking about this week, Hunter? Because we need to have a good subject this week.
I really want to talk about this from a Hans and Hunter kind of way, an objective and unemotional kind of way. But I do want to talk about the Tara Reade allegations against Joe Biden and the much different response from the left, from the media outlets that tend to be more left-leaning, the papers, TV programs, networks, politicians themselves, and why it's so different.
Is this so you can deflect from the Trump administration making a disaster out of the coronavirus response, or what are we...
Not at all. Not at all. We've talked about that, and neither one of us are health experts. The experts don't even have the answers. They're you go back a month or two and you read about what they were saying back then and what they're saying now. It's different. Nobody knows. It's evolving.
But we know everything about sexual allegations.
No, we don't.
Oh,
and we don't know much about anything, honestly, Hans.
So tell me about this Tara Reade situation, because obviously that is being spelled out in detail in your type of media that you consume, and I have not really heard much about it other than that it's something from 25 years ago and it's a he said she said situation. So give us some background.
Well, that's the point. Is you're not hearing about it from CNN, from MSNBC, from the New York Times, from the Washington Post, USA Today. You're not hearing about it.
Is that not because there's more important news to cover than this?
Was there not more important news to cover than Brett Kavanaugh and his allegations?
Well, Brett Kavanaugh was a nominee actually standing at the door of getting onto the Supreme Court. And in this case, I agree with you. It's similar and comparable. The circumstances in the world are obviously slightly different than they were at the time. But the situation is the same. I'll agree to that. And then the only other difference is that, Brett Kavanaugh was on a one-to-one path to get onto the Supreme Court. And in the case of Joe Biden, it's still, to be seen whether he even makes it into the White House or not. But
that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the way that Nancy Pelosi and Senator Feinstein and so many in the Democratic Party and on the left, not just in politics, but in the media, in entertainment, the whole Me Too movement, how the gravity of Miss Blasey Ford's allegations against Brett Kavanaugh and how this lady had to be heard. We have to hear her story. This is so serious. Why is that? And the fact that you're minimizing it, say, aren't there more important things to talk about now, really makes my point. Because last year, when this was all going down with Kavanaugh's accuser, this is the most serious thing threatening our world. Women were under attack, and women were being abused, and they weren't being heard, and we couldn't allow these allegations to go uninvestigated. And now Pelosi's response is, I'm satisfied with Joe Biden. I'll pull up here in a second and read what Pelosi said about Kavanaugh, and then what she said about Biden. But it's the way that the left is treating the situations differently. Is what
I don't know.
Is my
I don't know that it's different. I haven't heard Pelosi speak about it, so I don't know if she dismisses it as I'm satisfied with Biden. I did hear Biden speak about it, and he basically said this didn't happen, but at the same time he said that he encouraged the investigation.
Where's the cry from the media movement and the people on the left, especially the women in Congress? Where's the outcry to investigate this matter? Why aren't we hearing that?
It'll be investigated. I'm sure. I mean, from what I've heard, and granted, the screen time, if you want, is not as extensive as it was in the time of Brett Kavanaugh. I think, I don't know. Well, I'm sure that there's some related to the fact that it's Joe Biden, but at the same time, I also realize that circumstances are different than they were at the time of Brett Kavanaugh, right? I mean, Bill Clinton got plenty of attention with his situation as well. Brett Kavanaugh got attention because he was about to go into the Supreme Court. Joe Biden will get his attention, and we can simply vote him down on November 3rd if we choose to do so.
You're doing exactly what I have a problem with. You're downplaying this, and I guarantee you, had we had this discussion when that situation was occurring, you would have had a much different tone.
No, because I'm really the wrong person to talk to about this type of stuff, because I don't believe in these kind of media discussions and the public shaming in the court. We did that in the Middle Ages, right? We would throw tomatoes at somebody if we thought that they had done something. This is something that needs to be investigated by law enforcement. And if there is proof, then he's guilty. If there's no proof, then he is not guilty, because you're innocent until proven guilty. So it should just be handled and not be tried in the public court. I don't see why that is useful, because I don't know the facts. Nobody knows the facts.
But the people you're voting for are treating this so differently. It's a huge double standard. And why is that double standard okay in this situation? I believe there's a lot of double standards on the left. There's double standards on the right too, but it goes back to the issue of race. Anytime a black man or a black woman it comes out as a Republican or supports a Republican or supports Trump or supports anybody on the right, what are they called? They're an Uncle Tom. Always. They're dismissed. They're not considered part of the black community anymore. They're one of them now. Happens all the time.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas is being called Uncle Tom. Is that what you're saying?
He was totally, yeah, absolutely.
I'm not feeling the vibe with what you're saying, but that's maybe because I'm a European. Because this whole race thing was never an issue for me anyway until I came to the United States, and all of a sudden people started pointing out other people's skin color. I don't know. This is a topic that is not close to my heart, in the sense that I feel that you're trying to justify what you think you want to see. And what I mean by that is, and what I mean by that is that, the Joe Biden situation, as soon as you mentioned that at some point in a call or a message over the course of last week, I started to pay attention to it. And I read about it in the New York Times. I've seen it on CNN. It's been covered. And so now Biden came out and said it didn't happen. And now people are going to dig into it and see what they can find out. There is a request now to search his records for the name. And until we find some more facts and some more information, I don't find it very useful to talk about, simply because we have more important things to talk about. And I would have told you the same thing in the days of Brett Kavanaugh, because I thought that was nonsense also.
Let me read you Nancy Pelosi's statement on Brett Kavanaugh. September 17th, 2018, press release from Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, California's 12th District, press release. I applaud the courage of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford to come forward to share her story. As we continue to learn more about these allegations against Judge Kavanaugh, we must ensure that Dr. Ford's rights to justice and privacy are respected. Survivors should be supported when they come forward without the fear of threats or further trauma. There must be an acknowledgement of a lifelong impact of this episode. He's already guilty. The cost to the family of coming forward and the gravity of a lifetime Supreme Court nomination. Failure to postpone this vote without due process and a thorough investigation of these serious and credible allegations would be a dereliction of Congress's duty to demand zero tolerance of sexual harassment and abuse. That was her press release. Let me read what she said about Joe Biden. You can talk while I pull this up.
Well, I was going to ask you, because I don't remember that timeline anymore. But her statement was where in the process of investigation? Was the FBI investigation already underway, or was this after the first allegations came out? Because this allegation is fresh, right, from Tara Reid. I haven't heard about this until like a week or so ago, 10 days ago. That was when I started hearing about it.
You're making my point is that you haven't heard about it because it's not being reported.
No. I mean, I want to know when she made this allegation for the first time. Whether it got reported or not, I don't care. When was it first? When did she first make her allegation?
We'll find out here in a second. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a strong statement of support for Joe Biden after Tara Reid, a former Senate staffer, accused the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee of sexually assaulting her in 1993. Pelosi said that while she supports victims of sexual misconduct coming forward to tell their stories, she believes Biden over his accuser. She pointed to the fact that other staffers in Biden's Senate office had no recollection, I don't recall, of a sexual harassment complaint against Reid, or a complaint Reid said she made before she says she was fired from her post in retaliation. Pelosi also said she didn't want a lecture from a reporter who asked her why she wasn't calling for a full investigation of Reid's claims, as many Democrats have done in other similar situations. I have complete respect for the whole Me Too movement, Pelosi said. There's also due process in the fact that Joe Biden is Joe Biden. Oh, there you go. He's Joe Biden. Pelosi praised Biden's record and character, calling him a person of great values, and said she has great comfort in the situation. I'm so proud. The happiest day for me this week was to support Joe Biden for President of the United States, she added. He's a person of great integrity, of great concern for the American people, and he authored the Violence Against Women's Act. Tara Reid alleged that the then senator put his hands up her skirt and penetrated her without consent in a Senate hallway in 1993. Reid alleged last year that Biden inappropriately touched her neck, shoulders, and hair while she worked in his office in 1993. Other prominent Democrats, including women's rights champion Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, are also standing by Biden. How do we ever unify this country when this kind of crap happens?
Well, first of all, you should just dismiss it and not amplify it.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Why should we dismiss it?
Because I agree with you that, people take a position depending on all their vested interests and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it's irrelevant because this needs to go into the courts. It needs to take its course where you investigate things, etc., etc. And how this is being handled by individuals, whether it's on the left or on the right, I don't really care about, because I don't have any influence on it. And all I can do is realize that, of course, Pelosi will defend Biden because he's on her side, just like Trump would defend Kavanaugh because he was on his side, and Trump will probably come out and attack Biden in some mean way or whatever, and that's the game.
What is the message being sent to women now by your party? You sat there last week and told me that President Trump, so dangerous, the guy sat up there and said inject disinfectants. And we debated whether he really meant that or not. I don't believe that he did. Was it maybe irresponsible for him to even let that come out of his mouth? Maybe so. But he said that, and you guys are crazy, livid over the fact that our president would say this. But yet, the entire leadership of your party is standing over here basically just going, F you, Miss Reed, we don't care.
That's not true, because you both quoted Pelosi, and I just told you what Joe Biden said, which is this needs to be investigated. And, they're not going to stand in the way of any investigation.
Joe Biden said this needs to be investigated?
Yeah, Joe Biden said that in the interview that he had, the first interview that he had, I think it was on MSNBC. Yeah, it was on MSNBC, where he was asked about it. Aside from denying that it happened, which is an obvious answer, he also said that he believed that it should be investigated. The women have the right to be listened to. So the answers are the same, but I agree with you that in the one case, it's amplified that it's probably the guy that is at fault. And in the other case, it's amplified that the guy is probably not at fault. So that I agree with, but I think that that's inevitable. That's just the game.
Oh my God. You're going to say it's a game, but it's people's lives. It's people's lives.
People's lives? People's lives are only at stake. People's lives are only at stake if you open up barbershops and tattoo parlors in Georgia.
This doesn't, what is the message being sent? And you know what? I'm kind of glad, because to me it exposes Nancy Pelosi and the left for what many of us on the right feel often is that whatever is politically expedient for them, it's lie, cheat, kill, steal, destroy, whatever they have to do to win. It's like children on a playground. It's mine. No, it's not. Well, I'm going to take it from you. I'll beat you up. It's mine.
And you're condemning this while at the same time voting for the guy that will leave no lives untouched in order to win? What are you talking about?
You know what? I don't think we play that way on the right. And I get mad sometimes that we don't play a little harder that way. Because we're too nice. We want to be nice. And look, there are some scumbags in the Republican Party. Don't get me wrong. But I think
so Mitch McConnell squeezing through some conservative judges during a pandemic when Congress is out of session. You don't think that you think that that's playing nice, really?
No, I think that's classic politics right there.
So is Pelosi's response. It's also politics, same thing. And by the way, those conservative judges will have more impact on my life than Tara Reid. So there you go.
I don't like it either that, if Mitch McConnell is doing that. I think I've made clear with you throughout our many years of discourse on politics that I think I agree wholeheartedly with Trump calling Washington a swamp. I think there are more corrupt people and people that aren't really good for us in positions there than aren't. And I think those that have good intentions to go there and really make a difference are quickly sucked in and threatened. I don't know what they do, but you're going to play by our rules or something bad is going to happen to you, because inevitably, guy I vote here locally that I like and who is saying the right things that I believe in and believe that he's sincere about going to Washington and really making a difference. You are absolutely right. it's all politics. It's all nasty. But where I have a real problem with all of this, we're just a politician. It would be one thing, but the media perpetuates it, and the media is mostly left, and the media therefore controls the messaging. And where is, it'd be one thing if we said the Republicans are corrupt and the Democrats are corrupt, and we have a fair media that's disseminating fair information. But the majority of the information we get is what is going to benefit just the one side. And that's the scary thing. And one of the reasons why you have Donald Trump in office, and one of the reasons you have probably are going to have him for another 4 years, is because of people are waking up to that and they're tired of it.
See, I already don't agree with the premise that the media are predominantly left. I don't know where that comes from, and why that is being said. Because the media are driven by the advertisers, and the advertisers are driven by the revenues that they generate from their advertising, and the advertising is based on eyeballs and all of that they're getting from across the nation. Well, so it's almost by definition a random sample of what we are having in the country.
Let's look at Nielsen ratings then, because if that were the case, if media only cared about advertising and revenues, CNN and MSNBC would be all conservative TV, because Fox News is eating their lunch in terms of advertising revenues, in terms of ratings. So
right. So if Fox News is the most watched cable news network, which it is, and particularly in some hours, then why are you saying that the media is biased towards the left? Because Fox is definitely not on the left. You have the nerve, and if you have the nerve to say that Fox is not part of the mainstream media, I'm gonna laugh so loud it's gonna be a 30-minute segment of me just laughing. But go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't even think about calling them mainstream, even though I think they're way more mainstream than you do, because I didn't want you to go off on a tirade about how could they be mainstream? They're so far right. They're almost, they're.
But I don't consider mainstream left. What I consider mainstream are the media like the CNNs and the Fox Newses that are basically dancing to their advertisers, they're puppets to their advertisers. And it doesn't matter whether it's CNN or whether it's Fox, they both are.
You think CNN is middle?
No, I don't know whether CNN is middle or not. I don't care. They are dancing. They are dancing to their advertisers, commands basically, because they don't want to ruin their business model. Just like Fox doesn't want to ruin their business model.
They're not, because if they were, they would be doing what Fox is doing. But they're sticking with their left agenda.
Yeah, I don't consider it a left agenda. I mean, if I watch Fox, which I do watch, and I watch CNN, then I tend to think that CNN has a more fact-based reporting. They are doing more reporting, less opinion. Wow. Whereas at Fox you hear a lot of opinion. Oh. And Fox is much more than CNN, built around personalities and not around news coverage. I don't.
Wait, stop. Jake Cuomo, Don Lemon. You're not telling me these aren't personalities and opinion makers?
You're mentioning Don Lemon. You're mentioning Chris Cuomo, that who are on CNN and in the same time slots that Sean Hannity and that Ingram woman are. And I don't watch those hours because I don't care about personalities. I want to hear the news, so I'll watch during the day, then I watch CNN, and then I switch to Fox, and then my statement still stands that on CNN I will get more facts presented to me, and on Fox I will get more opinion presented based on those facts that Fox wants to tell me about. And I don't care about the opinion of Fox. I want to hear the facts, and that's it.
Okay, I do too. So let's take Hannity out of Fox, and let's take Rachel Maddow out of MSNBC, and let's take Jake Tapper out of CNN. Let's say they were the only ones of those shows, and everything else was news. and everything else, the news was Robin Meade on CNN and Shannon Bream on Fox and Greg Jarrett on Fox, and who are the other more, what you might call more objective, not Mike Wallace, Chris Wallace on Fox. Very, very even. Who's someone like that on CNN?
I guess the only one that might come close to that is either it's probably Anderson Cooper, actually.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
But, right.
So, when what you're saying is, and I'm asking this because I need to watch CNN perhaps more. If you take the goofballs out of the equation and you listen to the news reported by these folks that we just mentioned, you still think that CNN is way more fact-based and Fox is still way more opinion-based?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, that's good to know.
And I mean, I can give you probably examples, especially since I'm watching 4 news channels simultaneously. So, but and it's even worse than the stuff that I watch at night, which is the news from the Netherlands, right? That I can stream to my TV. Which is completely bare of any opinion, but only fact-based, and then debated by different people from different walks of life, which I find always very fascinating. Whether it's somebody from the artist world and a politician, and somebody from the medical world, and whatever they have for the evening around the table, they discuss the news of the day. And you get a short clip where it shows what the news is, and you don't get some person talking in front of the screen. That is always my problem here in the U.S. Now we're going to have, a news item from Syria, and then you're seeing somebody standing in front of the camera. I want to see what's going on in Syria behind that person. Please get out of the picture. I just want to hear your voice. I don't need to see your face. I want to see what's going on in Syria. Anywho,
you're right about that.
But anyway, so, and it could be that what I consider facts is already colored by how I stand in life, right? So when I watch, well, don't say because you're going to be the same way, undoubtedly, because that's probably how the human brain works. What I hear coming out of my speakers while watching CNN is typically what I consider more facts and less opinion. There is opinion, but I consider it more facts and less opinion. Whereas on Fox, it's oftentimes, there's exceptions, but there's oftentimes more opinion and less facts. Sue me if you think I'm wrong.
I know. I'll give you that. And you know what? I will pay more attention to. It's sad because I've pretty much turned the TV news off because of the things that we've talked about. It's ratings, it's sensational. Yeah. It's really bad.
I mentioned Anderson Cooper on CNN, but he's already gotten pretty bad. Probably Wolf Blitzer would be a better one to compare to your Fox. What's his name now? I forget his name. Wallace. Yeah. Chris Wallace is probably more comparable to Wolf Blitzer, to be honest with you.
And let me ask you an honest question, too. Does CNN have a Juan Williams, a conservative Juan Williams?
I don't know who Juan Williams is.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
I try to not listen to anybody who has the last name Williams.
There you go, folks.
Who's who?
That's the matter right there.
Who's Juan Williams?
You don't know who Juan Williams is, and you say you watch Fox News?
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Juan Williams is he and Geraldo is a little bit more, Geraldo is probably very middle ground, but he's a little more left thinking than.
Isn't Geraldo like competing with Jerry Springer?
That's way back in the day, dude.
Well, that tells you what kind of credibility I give Geraldo. But go ahead.
Oh.
Future has arrived.